in the AFC wildcard picture. Las Vegas means there are 9 teams within 1 game of a wildcard spot in the AFC. As we speak, it's the Colts, the Chargers, and the Bills who have that spot. As far as the Browns, the loss devastating. Look where it drops them. Had they won that game last night, they would right now be in first place in the AFC North. Instead, they are very much on the outside looking in at the AFC playoff picture. So a lot to talk about, big picture and small. Marcus, let's start small. With the game last night and the Browns facing the uphill battle that they were, what are the right things to say about them coming out of that loss last night at home?
Listen, we know the circumstance that they went into the game with, and obviously that's not ideal. But I just look at the possession before the Las Vegas Raiders got the ball back and were able to go down and set up Carlson for a kick to win the game. I know, and Jeff Saturday might have a conniption right now. But, Jeff, I got to try to throw the ball and get a first down, bro. They ran it 3 times with Chubb. And I understand the psyche and the ideology because you got Nick Mullins at QB. You dealing with the Raiders did a good job against the run for the most part last night. But when you in that situation, and G, you just showed the implications of winning or losing that game had. Give them an opportunity to get a ball to Njoku with a matchup, or try to just come up with a concept to get 1 first down, man. Just get 1 first down. I hated that little series of trying to run the ball 3 times and get Derek Carr the ball back, man. It bothered me for as well as this team was able to stay in this game with the circumstances that they were under. I would have loved for them to have a shot at throwing it and getting a first down in that
What
situation.
do you think, Jeff?
Swag, this is a miracle because both you and I are going to come to an agreement that we should not have run it 3 times in a row. Dan, you heard me just say it. We should not have thrown it. I mean, we should not have run it 3 times in a row. Okay? I can't agree with you more. Listen, when people talk about at some point in games your quarterback's going to have to make a play, this is a perfect example of it. Yes, and here's the thing. The Raiders were completely sold out to the run, understanding they were going to stop the run and use their timeouts. At some point, Cleveland had to take the handcuffs off of him. Let him go make a play. You saw him make a play with his legs, buy some time, and find the open receiver, or just pull it down and use your legs to get the first down. Completely different game. But I'm in agreement with you, Swagoo. And listen, you and I don't talk about throwing the ball a lot. But you're right.
What do you think, Graziano?
This morning.
Think back to last year, like what the Browns were when they were hot rolling into the playoffs. They wouldn't have thought about throwing it because they would have already had the first down on one of the first 2 by running it. I mean, they were a dominant. So this is what they want to do. I wasn't surprised they ran it on 3rd and 3 because that's kind of their DNA. And last year, even though teams knew they were going to run it, they still got those first down. Remember, Chubb was 10 yards a carry in the fourth quarter last year? So there's a lot missing. Obviously, there's short guys on the line. There's short guys everywhere. Exactly, they got nothing at receiver. They got a 3rd-string quarterback. But, yeah, I still, if they can't pick up that 3rd and 3 by running it, then they're not the Browns from last year.
And maybe one other piece of this is to remind everyone that the coach isn't there, and he's the play caller. And sometimes when you're sort of filling in that spot, you make the less second-guessable decision.
Amen.
It's easier to defend what they did last night and lost than it would be if they'd thrown a pass and left more time on the clock.
Exactly right. You just spoke exactly to Dan's point, right? If this was last year, this is exactly what we would do. This year is not when you have 2 offensive linemen who aren't playing for you. At that point, I think you had to throw.
That said, and Dan, you went through this in our meeting this morning. As devastating as that loss felt, as sort of final as it felt, it actually wasn't. The Browns are still candidly, all 4 teams in this division. And I'm going to leave this graphic up here for a while so everyone can try and digest what remains for these teams in the AFC North, because we really are in a position where 1 game separate all 4 of them. Any of them could still wind up winning.
Right, and their schedules are all terrible. Like if you look at the Bengals have the Chiefs, the Ravens have the Rams, the Steelers have the Chiefs, the Browns have the Packers. They'll probably be underdogs in all 4 of those games. So it'll come down to how they do against each other, and they all still play each other. Cleveland's got that game at home in Week 18. The weather's going to be horrendous, and the Bengals are going to be coming in there. That game could be for the division.
What if the Pittsburgh tie?
What? I mean, seriously.
I mean, listen, the Ravens have gone for it, the 2-point conversion 2 out of 3 weeks and lost. What if the Pittsburgh tie is the deciding factor?
If that happens, then that sound you will hear will be me screaming in joy from wherever I am with all the fights I've had with all you football players about how a tie is a good thing. A tie is better than a loss, and it can wind up winning the Steelers the division. A tie against the Lions, who at the time were winless, could wind up being the single best result that any team had in the season.
Or it could keep him out.
Or it could keep him out, but at least leave it to you to be the voice of reason. I was having a moment. Okay, Marcus, but that bears the question.
Keep them out.
Who's going to make it? Give me of these 4 teams. Give me the Swagoo crystal ball. Who's going to make it?
I got Cincy, man. I got Cincy. I look at the Bengals, and obviously they play Jekyll and Hyde as well. But when you look in this division, the only evidence that I had to go off of was 2 dominant performances against Pitt and against the Ravens. And when you look at this team, they have a tremendous amount of talent. The issue is Joe Burrow is under so much pressure.
That's right.
When he drops back to throw the football, that it becomes an issue with him trying to press and having those inconsistent turnovers. I believe if they can shore it up or find a way to get Joe Mixon going like they did at a good part of this season, which led them to 2 wins, that this team is the most dominant team in the AFC North. And it's unfortunate that I still don't know the answer.
That's the thing. Which one is the best may not be the same question as which one's going to wind up coming out of there, right? I think we all agree right now Cincinnati looks like the best.
They do, but they've got Baltimore next week. And if Baltimore wins that game, and Baltimore is in every game they play, right? If Baltimore wins that game, then all of a sudden we'll be sitting here next Tuesday going, oh, it looks like Baltimore's division to lose.
Can we point out that Baltimore has lost 3 consecutive games by a combined total of 4 points, which is the first time that's ever happened to any team in NFL history? And of course, 2 of them came on 2-point conversions that they don't make. Who's going to make it?
I'm going to say the Bengals as well. And the problem for the Bengals is every time I pick somebody, they lose. So if you do, I apologize in advance because every time I pick somebody, they lose in this division.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.